I honestly can't believe there are still so many people in support of Nintendo's lawsuits. As we all know, Nintendo likes to sue basically everything that could be counted as competition. Even going so far as to force games like Roblox to remove all of its user-generated content that's related to Nintendo. It genuinely wouldn't surprise me if they did the exact same thing to Sonic Crossworld now that people are trying to recreate Pokemon in the game with cars. I mean, it just seems like a really good excuse for Nintendo to try and undermine another competitor of theirs, because as we all know, Nintendo just fucking hates competition and innovation for whatever reason. But today we're gonna talk about what is possibly Nintendo's most famous lawsuit at the moment, their lawsuit against Palworld. Even though Palworld, gameplay-wise, is nothing like Pokemon except for the fact that you catch creatures, I guess, they're still suing them based on patents they've acquired after they started the lawsuit, which I didn't even know that was allowed, but apparently you're allowed to sue someone and then come up with a reason as to why you're suing them. Fucking amazing. As you'd say back in 2020, that's a 1000 IQ move. Now recently, Nintendo announced Pokopia, which is a Pokemon farming sim or whatever, right? And then a couple weeks later, Palworld announced a Palworld farming sim. This has led to a lot of anger and frustration with Nintendo fanboys who are upset that Palworld is copying Pokemon again. Nintendo should sue them even harder or whatever. One of these fanboys being a resident Nintendo fanboy, Harman Smith, and he made an entire video about how pissed off he is that Palworld, I guess, is also doing a farming sim. So without further ado, let's get into his video.
So with the upcoming Palworld spin-off game, Palfarm, on the horizon, we need to talk about the conspiracy that I believe that until Pokopia was announced, this game did not exist. Yes, I believe, and I'm not alone in this, in that Pocket Pair produced a trailer for a game that did not enter production until right now.
Okay, so there are apparently a lot of Nintendo fanboys who seem to believe this stupid theory that Pocket Pair only started making this game now to fuck with Nintendo. Right, that this whole trailer is fake and they've only started working on this game in order to compete, I guess, with the new Pokemon spin-off. My main question is, why specifically this Pokemon spin-off? Why wouldn't they have done this for a different Pokemon spin-off? Maybe a smaller game, which would be easier to compete with? Also, it seems like it would be really dumb for Pocket Pair to purposely antagonize Nintendo even further. You know, pretty stupid thing to do considering the whole lawsuit going on. It just doesn't make any sense for Pocket Pair to start development on an entire farming sim spin-off game out of spite. It would be really funny, but it wouldn't make sense.
Okay, so I think their official claim that the game was in development for a year before formally announced doesn't make any sense considering like Palworld still being worked on and everything else they do.
Damn, I didn't know that Harman Smith was an expert in game development. I guess I just kind of forgot about that. I guess I just kind of forgot that he was an expert at game development. Listen, so apparently the way that this game came into existence is that one of the developers of Palworld started working on it as a fun side project, then more developers started helping them out with it, and as it grew, the studio decided to just make it into a full game. Which, considering the amount of money and resources Pocket Pair has now, is completely a plausible way for a game like this to come into existence. Nothing weird about it.
Like Palworld farming sim, whatever it's called.
I just love how he started off this video by saying the name of the game correctly, Palfarm. So the first thing he says in the video. And then now he's pretending like he doesn't even know or care what the name is, because I guess he realized like, oh, I'm supposed to act like I don't care about this so I can look cool or whatever. It's clear you know what the name is, bro. You don't have to pretend. We heard you say it in the beginning. Don't be like, oh, I don't even know what it's called. I don't care. Like, shut up, bro. You clearly care a lot.
The timing of the announcement is just super shady. Because we just got Pokopia.
Coincidences exist, my guy. Like, especially with farming sims. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but farming sims are super fucking popular, especially after the release of Stardew Valley. Everybody and their mother is developing a farming simulator game. It's not that weird, it's just a funny coincidence. Calm down.
Everyone was thrilled about Pokopia. Except Palworld fans. So what we saw immediately after Pokepia came out was that people were complaining that it looked too much like Dragon Quest Builders, even though they contracted the developer. It was like it looked the same as other farming games, and that Nintendo would go after them next. Lots of coping and seething.
I mean, that's just kind of people joking, but not really. Nintendo does sue everybody who even remotely makes something similar to a Nintendo game. Right, again, they're suing Palworld, right? They like to sue people. It's not really coping and seething when you're joking about something that's like objectively true. Nintendo does seem to rather sue their competition than actually try and compete with them.
And now, Palworld announced their farming sim. Suddenly, that's like this huge hype announcement that really needs to be like praised and worshipped. Like, and I really do have to question the timing of this and like the behavior of the fans, because like there's nothing special or interesting about Palworld farming. Like, it's not going to stick out from the competition. It's not unique, fun, fresh, exciting. It is just clearly just a blatant cash grab.
I love how Harman Smith's critiques of any game he doesn't like always are the exact same. He just kind of goes, yeah, the game isn't exciting, the game is boring, the game doesn't look good, and doesn't expand at all on why. But he's just like, yeah, the game sucks and it's not going to stand out from competition. Doesn't explain why Pokepia is good, right? It's just cool and exciting, and Palfarm is uncool and unexciting. That's the only reason he needs to give.
You keep the timing, when you keep in mind the Palworld fan culture, when you keep in mind their behavior, I don't think it's unreasonable to assume that the trailer was produced in a couple of weeks using a bunch of like Palworld assets, and there's not actually a game to go along with it yet.
I mean, I would love to know what you're basing this off of, other than I feel like this is correct because it's hurting my ego to think that Palworld might actually put out another game to compete with Pokemon. Because so far all I've seen Nintendo fanboys like you say is, oh well, it came out after the Pokepia trailer, therefore it must be true that this was only created to mess with Nintendo. That's not really proof, like, at all.
I think Nintendo announced Pokepia, and Pocket Pair immediately produced this trailer that isn't based on any actual gameplay footage, and are just going to try and make a game around it. Because if you look at like Legends, if you look at like Palworld, like a lot of what it plagiarized came from Legends Arceus specifically.
Claims to be a Pokemon fan, can't even pronounce the name Arceus correctly. Also, it just didn't. Okay, I guess the only thing that Pokemon Legends Arceus and Palworld have in common is that it's both open world, or at least Pokemon Legends Arceus is semi-open world, I guess. And you can walk around and catch creatures and balls, but that's the only similarity. Palworld is clearly more Arc with Pokemon than it is Pokemon with guns.
Like, even though that came out after like the Game Awards trailer in 2021.
Bro, so how can it even be a copy of Legends Arceus then if Palworld came out first or was revealed first? Like, huh? The mental gymnastics of Nintendo fanboys will never cease to amaze me.
So, like, Palworld seems to be able to plagiarize mechanics and assets like during development.
Palworld did not steal or plagiarize any assets. That's a rumor that has been proven false. And also, how do you plagiarize mechanics? You can only get inspired by other games' mechanics. But like, if it's stealing to also have a monster capturing mechanic in your game, then like what? We can only have one monster capturing franchise then? Or how does it work?
Because they knew that because Nintendo did something similar with their farming game, that they'd be able to get some kind of hyper attention for their project. Like, I think that's what's happened.
Yeah, because you're fucking stupid. That's why you think that, but that's clearly not what happened.
And like, considering like how fucking Bucky, that fucking retard on Twitter who works there, like, considering how much he seethed about people like pointing this out.
He wasn't seething, he just went on Twitter and explained how long the game has been in development for, and then clowned on Nintendo fanboys for not believing him. Also, on his Twitter, I saw him retweet a monster catching farming sim that came out like earlier this year, I think. So what, is Pokemon just, copying that game since that one came out first, right? I mean, Pokepia is clearly a clone of Ova Magica, because Ova Magica came out before. because that's how this works, I guess.
Anybody talks about them at all is in regards to like the Pokemon controversy. Like when they did that stupid like fishing game, nobody gave a shit. Like nobody's playing Craftopia, you know? Like nobody knows what nobody cares about or anything they do outside of like Pokemon related plagiarism.
Craftopia, by the way, is a game that came out over 5 years ago and sold over 1 million copies, so I think it was fairly popular.
It's not about like stealing like generic ideas or concepts or gameplay mechanics. Like they are ripping wholesale entire like animations, models, and mechanics code from the actual game.
No, that's not true. That's been debunked multiple times. You're fucking stupid. You're dumb, big idiot. Can you not use fucking Google, dude? Do you not have access to Google? How do you talk so much about this Palworld lawsuit but don't know that this has been disproven so many times? All of the models and animations in Palworld were made by the Palworld like team, by Pocket Pair, including the code. They also wrote all of the code, okay? And this lawsuit is about mechanics. Nintendo is patenting mechanics like summoning monsters to help you fight. It is about basic mechanics. It's not about them ripping off or stealing assets, because that's just not true. That's not what the lawsuit is about, and that's also not even a thing that happened. By the way, you did earlier say that they are stealing mechanics, so you're now contradicting yourself, but you know, I've gotten used to that from you, so it shouldn't really be a surprise. But with that being said, I think I'm gonna end the video here, because he just keeps repeating himself, and I don't feel like making this video 10 minutes longer than it needs to. So if you like this video, guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.